Hi, this is Amy with Toolbox Tarot, and I'm here to do your reading for Tuesday, July 31st, 2018 through August 6th, 2018. And I'm using Tarot del Fuego by Ricardo Cavolo. And I'll just shuffle these up. We'll choose a few cards, 3 cards, and we will think about how we can apply them to what we're thinking about this coming week. Since you're not here to ask me a question. So, I'll see if I can be speedy pulling cards. I can't always be, but we'll see. Alright, here's the first card, the Hanged Man. Fair enough. I think it's this one, darn it. The Knave of Wands. Oh, I like that one. I noticed that. I haven't used this deck before, but I really wanted to use it. But I did look at that card earlier today. And this one. All right. The Four of Swords. All right. Interesting imagery. Not something especially that Four of Swords, not what I would expect. All right. So the only major arcana card is the Hanged Man. And this card, since it's the only major card, is going to preside over anything else that we talk about in the reading, because it is talking about where we are, what we're engaging with in our spiritual development, and these other cards are just snapshots of what's going on. So overall, this is what we're engaging in, and it's a very interesting card. You'll see that this person is hanging upside down, but they've given themselves over to it. It doesn't look like they're anguishing over it. They've decided to go with it. And you'll also notice that their face is in their body. And the way that I interpret that is that this person is not using their way of thinking with their head to interpret what's going on. They're going to use their heart, or they're going to use another set of tools or information in order to understand what's going on. The whole idea behind the Hanged Man is sacrificing your comfort in order to learn something that you couldn't learn without, if you were comfortable. So we'll just keep that in mind as we go along in the reading, and I'm sure we'll come back to that. So the Knave of Wands is the only person card that showed up. I think it's really interesting. This is what I was thinking about when I saw this. A lot of times in this deck, wands are the people in the cards for the suit have missing limbs, and they've got wooden limbs instead. And but this is a knave, and so they haven't. It's only part of this person's leg that's been replaced with a wand. The element for wands is fire, and fire corresponds with the part of the body that is the crotch. So swords, we'll turn this guy up. So swords have to do with the head, thinking, communicating, deciding, conflict. The cups have to do with the heart area, the elements water, elements air for the head, or for the swords. Water, feelings, intuition is the heart and the cups. And the wands is the sex organs, and it has to do with passion. The element's fire. And then the pentacles, the element is earth, and it corresponds with the feet. And I always think about it with the hands as well, because that's all about getting down to work, the feet and the hands and the pentacles. So anyway, back to the Knave of Wands. A knave is a person who knows that they are here to learn, and they're enthusiastic about learning. But it also means that they aren't already good at what they're doing. But that's okay, because you are where you are, and that's where you're entering into this. So because the person card is a wand, and we're putting it together with the Hanged Man, I think that this is telling you that instead of using your mind, your logical, or whatever part of you that you normally use, and I think in Western places we lean pretty heavily on the brain as far as our number one mode of transportation through the world. Instead, this is saying, be a student of your passion this week. You might not be as comfortable as you would be if you were going ahead and trying to do the most logical thing, or the thing that you have been doing or you feel is a sure shot. But be willing to risk, for enthusiasm's sake, being a student to your passion, letting this enthusiasm take over a bit. This is the part of yourself that's being called forward this week. Your student, your enthusiastic, passionate, dreamy student who's on fire. And finally, the Four of Swords, which is interesting. Okay, so like I said before, swords, the element air. This card is I'm not sure what they're doing here, except, okay, how about this? So the Four of Swords is about taking a break. Like you've been exhausted. You're mentally exhausted. You've been really, really struggling with thinking about something in a certain way. And the Four of Swords is like, it's a timeout. It's not rest that will leave you feeling replenished. It's the kind of rest that's just necessary in order to go on. And so I feel like these go together really nicely. And I was wondering about this image with the hand, but if you think about it, we do so much work with our hands. And this is the Four of Swords is demanding that we put that work off. It's rendered the work of our minds useless for this week. So we've got to put that part of ourselves aside, the part that we've been really pushing into service a lot. And instead we're being called to learn something new with this new perspective that we're given by allowing the Knave of Wands to take the lead. And you don't really have a choice. I mean, if you wanted to go to work and type or paint a house or whatever, you couldn't do it with that hand, right? You just have to let that heal. So we're putting this aside. We're being called to employ this person. And even though we're going to be uncomfortable because we're used to relying on our minds and this other way of managing ourselves, or maybe deciding, allow yourself to be drawn forward instead of decide. And surrender yourself to the uncomfortable feelings that go along with that, and understand that you're learning something really important from this new perspective. So that's your reading for, let's see if I can get all 3 of these cards in the shot at one time. Oh, right at the end. That's your reading for this week. I thank you for tuning in, and I hope that you'll check out my other videos. And have a nice day. Bye.